In this presentation, we will discuss the formatting, presenting, and delivering of reports to clients. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. At this point, we have all these reports that we have downloaded from the QuickBooks file, reports that we plan on giving to the clients on a month-by-month basis. If we see what we have at this point, we can see we have a lot of data files here. We've got PDF files, we've got an Excel file, and we have a backup file. We want to give this to the client as easily as possible and think about some ways that we can then format this information. We also want to think of just logistically, how can we get it there to the client? Do we want to mail this information to the client? Are we close enough that we can give them a paper copy of the client, or do we need some digital copy? Typically, the digital copy will be something that will be useful, and the first thing we would think of then is email. Now, email will work fine, except this file up here if we want to give a backup file, which we don't necessarily have to do. But if we do give a backup file, then the email may not have enough information or enough room to accept that backup file, especially as we get more and more data as we go with the backup files. However, if we don't give the backup file, we could give this information with email, but we still run into kind of problems because we'd have to attach it in such a way that we would have 5 files linked to the email, or have 5 different emails, or we can use some other options. And we'll discuss how, if we were going to use email, how can we make it as nice as possible? We want to make this look kind of clean that we can give to someone. The other options, if we're going to use something like the backup file, is some type of cloud storage. And the big 2 cloud storages are something like Google Drive and Dropbox. There's many others. You could use an Amazon as well, I believe has cloud storage. And this information will allow us to basically share this data on the cloud with particular clients that we assign. These options here will typically allow us to upload more information at one time, although there will be a limit. So we can upload the documentation here, we can assign that to a particular client so that we can share that folder with particular people, which is very nice, very convenient. However, if we get a lot of clients, then we're going to easily get to our limit at some point in terms of how much we can upload to a file, and we'd have to pay for more storage space there. Also note that there are security issues as well. If we have something like an email, the email's not the most secure thing there, so if we have a lot of sensitive information, financial information, then we want to secure that email as much as possible, and you can think of things like encrypting the email and whatnot. And the Google Drive and the Dropbox, same type of concepts. We want to make sure that we have this information as secure as possible. We would hope that the Google Drive and the Dropbox does a good job as large companies with security in that documentation on their side, on their server side. I won't get into any more detail on the security, but just be aware that each one of these has their own kind of security problems, and we want to be aware of them as we use this information. Now we'll open up our folder and see how we can format what we have put together. So we've downloaded a bunch of files from a prior presentation, and we'll think about how we can sort this information to then present it. So if we go into our documents, we put this into the 2019 folder, into January folder, into the into the reports folder, and then into the bookkeeping folder here. Now this backup file, we're going to think of that as kind of a separate issue, and we'll get back to this. Let's go first look at the reports we have. So here are our reports. Now, if we didn't have this Excel file and all we had were these PDF files, and we wanted to just send that by email. So let's just say that's the easiest method. We're going to send these reports by email at the end of the time period. We could just attach these to the email, and that would be the easiest thing to do. Note what we cannot do typically when you make an email is we can't attach the entire folder very easily to the email. It won't let us do that. We'll have to go into the folder and then make 5 attachments or send 5 different emails. So the first thing is, well, how can I basically send an email with maybe 1 attachment instead of 5? And one way we can do that is just to zip the file. So that's the first method we could use. We could go, okay, if we went back to reports, let's pretend that we don't even have this Excel file here, and we just have these 5 reports, and we just want to provide those to the clients on a monthly basis. Well, we could go back to reports, We could select this item, right click on it, and go send to, and then compress the file, zip the file. Now I had something open within the file, it wouldn't let me do that. Let's try it again. So be aware of that if you get an error and you have something open, then it won't let you do it. So I'm going to right click on it, we're going to go into it, and we will try this again. We're going to send to and a compressed file. So there we have it there, and this little zipper just means it's zipped. Now if we're going to attach it to the email, we'll have, we can just attach this one file. They can then open it up and have all the files related to it. So that's a lot nicer looking in a lot of ways when we send an email out. We can just have one attachment, all that information in it. And again, a lot of times if it's just the monthly reports, the client may really need it at the end of the year and may not be caring too much about the monthly reports. We're just saying, hey, we're still here. We're still giving you this information monthly. We haven't forgot about you. Don't forget about us. So we can have that format. That's the one format. Next, we can say, okay, it might be easier if I go back in here to have this information in one place, such as it is in this Excel document. So the next option is we could just open this up. We could give them this Excel document. We could format this a little bit nicer, and we'll also do some other things to this Excel document as well. So let's think about some options with this Excel document. Now you might be saying, hey, I know that my client doesn't want an Excel document possibly because they don't know Excel or something like that. But so let me address that first, and then we'll get back to why it might be useful. Because the one reason is that we might be able to give it as a PDF file with all the information, all the forms in one PDF file by using this Excel document. So that's going to be the end goal. Let's look at that. So to do that, just to demonstrate that, I'm going to go to this first tab, right click on it, and delete it. We don't want that first tab, so all I did was go to this first tab, right click on the tab, and delete the tab. And then I'm going to go to the file option. We're going to print, and usually it only prints like one tab at a time, the tab we're on, not the whole workbook. But if we go to this option here and we print the entire workbook, then it'll print all of the pages of the workbook. Now we have 12 pages, and it goes through everything that we have in the workbook. And if we print this as a PDF file, then it'll create one PDF file with all the documents that we have here in it. And that's kind of nice. That might be a good alternative, because now we can say, instead of having a zipped file with 5 different reports in it, we can give one PDF file which has all 5 reports in it, in a sequential way, so they don't have to unzip anything or anything like that. They just have one report. This has all your information in one place. So that's kind of the end goal that's most useful to most clients. Also, if you have someone that's good with Excel, they might just appreciate this Excel file. So let's go back and do some formatting. There's some simple formatting to make that work best. So we're going to go to each tab here and just do some formatting, and then we'll save this information. So first we got the balance sheet. So the balance sheet, if you go to the second tab over here, which is this little box, that's the page layout, that'll show to us that there is a header tab. It also shows that it has these split panes on, and it does this every time. I don't know why, but to get rid of them, you just go to the View tab up top, Windows, and select Split Pane, and that'll take them away. So that'll take the split panes away. You can see it's all on one page this way too. So if I go back to the first screen, there it is. Now when you print it, we'll see in the printer review, as we just saw, there's no little grids there or anything like that. It'll just be a blank page. So that's the first one. That's all we need to do. I'm going to do the same thing for the P&L. Next tab, go into the next tab. All I'm going to do is go to the View tab, Windows, unsplit the panes, and if I go to the second tab here, I can see the header is there. That's what I want. If I don't want this over here, I can just delete it right there. That'd be fine. And go back. Next one, deposits. Now this one might be more than one page long, so I'm going to do the same thing. View, unsplit the panes, and then go to the next tab. And it's not more than one page wide. That's what I'm mainly concerned about. It's more than one page long. That's okay. Back to the prior. We're going to go to the check deposits. Now this one's an issue because it's more than one page wide, and we might want to deal with that issue. So to do that, View, Windows, unsplit the panes. One way we can do that is always change the rotation or the orientation of the page. So we go to page layout, page orientation, and we change the orientation from portrait to landscape. And that moves the page break over. So in other words, if I go back, it's more drastic if you see it. Let's go back over here. If you see it in the page break, if we had the orientation portrait, then there's a break right here, and that's pretty ugly in a PDF file because you'd have to tape the pages together to see it. So we're gonna go back to orientation and landscape, and then now it's on 1 page wide, 2 page long, which is better. So we'll go back to why I think it's better. So I'm gonna go back here, and then the graphs. We just copied and pasted this graph in here, so we can make it look like whatever we want. If we go to this side again, it's on 2 pages. So we can go back over and say, let's make this portrait. And then if this doesn't quite fit, we could put this below, possibly if we want, or something like that, or maybe above it. That's why we kind of printed them out separately. We could do something like that. We can make this smaller if we want to make it side by side. We can put this here, grab the edge of it, and make it a little smaller so that it fits on a page. So a lot of options with the graph. So it's probably better to have it larger down here. I'll just undo it till it's down there again. All right. So that's what we have. And then we can just go ahead and print this as one PDF file. So I'll go back here to the File tab, and we will print the entire workbook, which here's the preview. It looks like this. And so here's all the pages in it. We can just go through them and make sure that they're all printing, in some type of appropriate fashion. So they look pretty good. Okay, so then we're just going to print it to the Qt PDF printer, which will print it just as we did to the other one, print it to a PDF file. So we have it going where we want to go, and we're just going to say save that information. So then if we open that up, then what it did is it printed it as a PDF file. So here it is. So if we were to open this up for clients, I'm going to open it with Adobe. Now they can open it with anything because they can open it with a PDF file with Adobe or with a web-based software in the internet-based software, however that works. So we go back, and here it is. So here's our report. And now instead of having 5 different attachments, they can go down here and they have it just on their one attachment. So again, if this is a way to give them all this information to kind of say, hey, we're still here. Here's all the information that we're doing. This is all the data that we've been entering into the system, and here's a nice little picture of the stuff we've done. So you can take a look at that and keep us in mind here. Now remember, no matter what method we use, if we use any of those, if we zip it or if we do all this, it's still not going to be small enough if we want to put the information, include a backup file. So this backup file really usually stops the email process from happening. So if you want to use a backup file, then what you could do is go onto the cloud-based systems. And here's the Dropbox website. You can take a look at that. And the other one is Google Drive. And a lot of people have actually Google account, have a Google email account, and aren't that aware of the other options you have with the Google Drive. So just be aware there's a lot of other stuff that you have, including some small portion of free storage. So if you're just starting out and you have just a couple clients, you may be able to get by with just the free storage that you have so far with a Google Drive account. And the same is true with a Dropbox. You could sign up. Typically, many of the cloud storage items will give you some small amount of free storage, which is enough to upload documents that are larger that can't typically be emailed, because they know that's the point of having the cloud storage. So you can probably get away with like one or a couple clients if you're not just storing all the information on the cloud. If, however, you want to use the cloud, which is another good use for it, as a backup file to not only provide to clients, but also as a backup file that's away from the computer, then that's not on the same drive as the computer, cloud-based storage is a good option. However, you can also just get an external hard drive and save it to an external hard drive, and that's at least not on the same computer as well. So you have different options for that, but definitely worthwhile just to look at this, especially a Google Drive account, because you probably have an email, and just see how you can share documents with it and upload files that are a bit larger, including QuickBooks backup files. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.